I'd say, well, first of all, I'd say book in a free call. There's no time limit, and let's talk. But I'd say for them to just be honest with themselves and really reflect on their life so far, and then from there go and get that support, because it is quite hard. I always say as well, like a lot of people really struggle to open up to the people closest to them. So just open up to your partner, your friend, your family member might not exactly help you get to where they want to be because they're not skilled in that area.
Hey guys, and welcome back to the Aridja Kals show, where we speak to ordinary people with extraordinary lives. I'm your host, Aridja, and I just want to thank you so much for coming back to watch yet another episode. And if you're new, then hey, welcome. All right guys, so last week we spoke to an amazing neo-soul / R&B singer who spoke about a wide range of topics. Guys, that conversation was so beautiful. I really enjoyed myself. Anyway, if you want to watch that episode, please click the link above. This week, we have an amazing personal development coach. Now, his services are for men in particular, and he helps men to overcome their limits, become the best version of themselves, break through barriers, and just live a limitless lifestyle. All right, guys, without further ado, please like, subscribe, share, comment, and follow on Spotify, where you can find this episode and all my previous episodes. Please welcome Nathan. So, hi Nathan.
Hi Aridja, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Looking forward to our chat today.
Yeah, definitely. Same here. All right. So, Nathan, for those people who don't know you, I've got here that you are a personal development coach who supports men to overcome limits, become winners, and achieve the lifestyles they want. That's a profound statement, but is it true?
It is true, yeah.
Yeah?
You literally hit the nail on the head. The only thing that I'd add is just the fact that really get encouragement to open up in ways that I don't think they usually do because of social constraints and whatnot.
Perfect. Okay, well, we're going to dive deep into that in a second.
Cool.
But for now, we're just going to start with a brief word association game.
Bro.
So I'm just going to hit you with a random word, and I want you to say the first word / phrase that pops into your head.
Okay.
All right, cool. So first word that comes into my head is adventure.
Traveling.
Morocco.
Marrakesh.
Camels.
Donkeys.
Shrek.
Fiona.
Princess.
King.
Palace.
Crystal.
Gem.
Like a good phrase.
A good phrase.
Yeah, I called it a gem. I called a good phrase the other day a gem.
A gem. Okay. Great conversation. You need
entertainment.
Do you know what you should have said? You should have said the Aridja Kals show, but I'll let you off.
I was thinking that. Tied into entertainment.
Okay, entertainment. Okay. Television. We'll end it there. All right. So a little birdie told me that you were once on Take Me Out.
Yeah.
You were on Take Me Out. You were on maybe a couple of reality TV shows.
Yeah.
How was that for you? Like the whole process? Because a lot of people see it from the TV, but we don't know how it actually is being in a reality TV show. Was it really nerve-wracking when you were standing there and, you know, all the lights went off and all that?
I think because I'd done a couple before, I wasn't that nervous, and I was also doing modelling at the time, just like little part-time gigs here and there. So I wasn't too nervous. However, what I was really nervous about and what I ended up fluffing up was on the night of the show. So imagine I'm at a nice hotel, just preparing myself, I was chilling, watching a good little Christmas film. And then just nodding off to bed. They've rang me at 1:30 in the morning saying, okay, we switched around the show, we want you to go out first. I'm like, okay, cool. Anxiety went up a little bit, but I'm good. I'm like, okay, cool, that's fine. Oh, there's another thing, we want you to rap. Like, you said that you could rap in the past. I'm like, yeah, but I've got nothing prepared because I thought I was going to have the VT round of friends and family taking the mick out of me. And they're like, no, we switched around the show. So oh my gosh, this is where I was so nervous. On the day, I remember they brought in someone like from the X Factor, because it's ITV, right? So I had to do choreography around the stage. I've created this rap early in the morning to like go to an audience clap, and like they were trying to find a beat to it. So literally like probably about half an hour before, even Paddy come up to me right before the show like, oh mate, I know you must be absolutely bricking it, so let's stuck this on you now.
Oh my God.
I was so nervous because of all the extra stuff that I didn't expect. But it went well.
But so you actually did the rap on stage?
I did the rap on stage.
Yeah, and apparently...
I fluffed it up.
Apparently, I know you hate that I say this way, it is online. It is online, but yeah, anyway. So that's crazy. Like, when the lights go off on Take Me Out, when they're like buzzing you off because they don't like a certain thing about you, how does that make you feel? Do you just take it on the chin, or is it like quite is that rejection?
No, do you know what it is? I think it's because like I'd like gone to university, I'd like worked in Ibiza quite a lot of years ago. I did face-to-face sales. A lot of what I did, so I like the fear of rejection wasn't that deep to me. Like I have enough confidence in myself to think at least 1 out of 30 girls is gonna like me.
Yeah.
So like I kind of had that going, but obviously it does bum you out a little bit. But no, again, it goes back to try not to care too much about what other people think and just have fun
100%.
and know why you're doing what you're doing. And for me, it was kind of to get on other bigger TV shows and kind of go in that kind of.
When was this, by the way? When were you on Take Me Out? What year?
Ages ago now. So we did it in 2018, but it got aired towards the end of 2019.
Oh,
so
okay.
A little while ago now.
A little while ago. Yeah. Have you been on any other reality TV shows since then, or?
Well, majority of the ones that are like, you know, like message me and stuff like that are dating ones because I've got a girlfriend now.
Yeah, no. So it can't happen.
It can't run. But no, I did a few. Like I did like Coach Trip.
Okay, Coach Trip.
Yeah,
that was on
Trip.
T4?
Yeah, E4. Yeah,
E4.
Yeah,
that's it.
And did like a couple of others, like a couple of other smaller ones.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Do you ever stay in contact with those that you meet on those shows? Or has that not happened for you?
Do you know what? No, actually, no. Us Take Me Out boys were actually quite close. One of them I ended up going to Vegas with the year after. So, we don't really speak as much now. But no, one of the other boys, he was a cage fighter. And he now fights for the UFC.
Yeah.
And me and him still message each other all the time. I always like promote his fights on my social media and whatnot. But yeah, we were all quite close, which was really nice. Yeah. Because what they don't actually show is, so you basically, thankfully, all 4 of us got dates. But basically, the majority of the holiday you spend with the boys and the girls spend with the girls. And it's only on the last night that you actually have the date.
Oh, I see.
So yeah, you spend a lot of time with like the people that you're with. So no, it was really good.
All right, that's really cool. That's really cool. So so now there's no more like reality TV shows on the cards for you, or no?
No.
How about like modeling gigs or?
No, so that I guess all of that kind of stuff kind of come to a bit of a close because when I was working abroad, there were opportunities that would come up, but I was abroad, and then I guess just trying to. I think I worked in IB for 4 years in a row. Absolutely loved it. 4 summers in a row.
Oh wow!
And I really kind of wanted to take things a little bit more seriously and go from like all the management experience that I'd taken, all the face-to-face sales, and kind of apply that to kind of like corporate. So I just made a bit of a switch and stuff like that. I guess I would have told myself at the time, which would have been wrong. I would have said, "Oh, I don't have the time for modeling and stuff like this," because to really start, you know, unless you get a lucky break, to really start getting yourself out there more, you have to go to auditions.
Oh yeah, you know, you need to be active and like really put yourself out there.
That's it. So I just kind of sacked all that kind of stuff off. And as I say, anything that I always get messages for are dating shows.
All right, yeah.
So yeah, they only want me for the dating shows, clearly.
All right, that's interesting. So what do you like to do apart from being a coach? You know, apart from very serious, important, subject that you do around coaching, what do you like to do outside of it? So what's your go-to, maybe food or sports or anything that you like to do outside of what you do? Yeah,
so my go-to is the gym. I love the gym. I've actually enjoyed it more as I know a lot more about training now. And just the fact that I can fit in around my lifestyle. If I've had a bad day the day before, I can go to the gym and just completely clear my mind. It's really good for my mental health. Just seeing the results that you get, I can get bigger, stronger, can get more lean. I just think it's absolutely fascinating. Like, doing things with better technique, doing things slightly slower, making it more difficult in yourselves. That's definitely my go-to. What do you believe more in, intensity over consistency, or is it a combination of both? Like what's your mindset when you're at the gym? Yeah, so it's a mindset of both. So my mindset used to be in the gym, just like try and lift, like try and be as strong as possible. And I realized that like it was just like little injuries were like creeping up. Like I've got a dodgy shoulder, I've got a dodgy back, and I'd be doing things in the gym that I just seen in training programs and whatnot, and thought I had to do it, or I wasn't going to be henching. It was just a really silly mindset. Now it's to go to the gym and do things that, it is to be as intense as possible, but do things that aren't going to leave me with an injury further down the line. It's about kind of like training smarter, not harder.
Right.
But when I say harder, I mean doing things with more intensity, but maybe dropping the weight a little bit and doing things with more control.
Right. Okay.
So yeah,
Interesting.
a mixture of intensity
Yeah.
and consistency, but yeah, working smart, not hard.
Okay.
That's
Would
hard.
you ever get into sports, or is it just gym that you?
I used to be a big like sports guy, so I used to play football and rugby, and then went to uni and did American football for a bit.
Okay.
But again, American football, got put in the first team. I mean, didn't even really play a game because basically my left shoulder is dodgy, and like it's just nuts. Like when I'm talking, like, I used to play rugby at decent level, and it was good. But like American football is just 10 times harder. You're tackling
it
people
looks like that.
a lot bigger than you. You just have to basically run into them. There is a technique to it.
Yeah.
But there's, oh gosh, yeah. There's people. Obviously, everyone's flipping huge.
Yeah, I know.
And just running into people and just having to take the impact.
And then keep going.
And then keep going. I've never been. So when I was at uni, like at least every training session, like 10 people get injured. Little niggles. People. A lot of my friends that are playing like break their thumb, like dislocate their shoulders, have to pop it back in, and we weren't getting paid for it.
Oh,
so it just didn't
it?
make sense to me.
Yeah, and even if you were getting paid for it, I can't imagine still doing that. But that's interesting. That's really interesting.
I love sports. It's just about trying to find the time. Like I've had jobs where like I really have like. I remember I had this one job where I had to be up at 6:30 and I wouldn't get back till 10:30. And that's morning to evening.
To evening.
So gym was the only thing I could try and fit around my lifestyle at the time.
Yeah.
So that's
and you mentioned that you like parties and like going out a lot and stuff. Is that like I don't know, beach parties in different parts of Europe, or is that like main like clubbing in London, in Luton where you're from, or?
Yeah, do you know what it is? A lot of my friends have come from like uni environments, or it's been like we've all been like friends abroad and stuff like that, so all of us love a night out.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with that. Yeah, exactly. Everyone likes a cheeky night out.
Everyone loves a cheeky night out. So if I've got a weekend where I'm not seeing the missus, for example, it will usually be like a weekend away with the boys or just a night out with the lads. But yeah, it will be like, don't get me wrong, as I've got older, I much prefer like a beach party,
or a pool party, or even a barbecue. I love barbecues in summer.
Yeah, exactly. A nice little barbie.
Yeah.
I love my food as well. So there's food going. I'm happy with that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've definitely become a lot more of a daytime party guy than a nighttime party guy now. But anything I can do to get out, have a laugh with the lads.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Let's get into this, right? So, personal development coach. You are also certified. You're a professional personal development coach. You've been awarded a professional performance diploma, and that was quite recent. Tell me about the journey up until January when you first started your services up until now. How's it been going for you?
So before, I guess.
Yeah.
So it was a bit of a strange one. So I've got a full-time job. I work as a business development manager for an energy company. And the job was just extremely quiet. The energy crisis meant that we couldn't sell anything. So a lot of us were twiddling our thumbs with not really much to do in a day. And I thought, how do I use this time most effectively? So I've always been like a massive fan of psychology. I did that at uni. And I thought, I kind of want to go into something that's psychology related. And I started seeing all these kind of coaches appear online. I thought, okay, it looks a bit... I don't know. I don't want to be a life coach or anything like that. But then I really kind of saw, like, I've always kind of wanted to have my own business. I really wanted to help people and I wanted to do something that was psychologically based. And I thought, if I can kind of like twist with what being a coach is to kind of suit what I want to do and support people, that's what I'm going to do. So I took the diploma. That was quite hard, doing a diploma, a full-time job and practicing actual, coaching sessions. So it's definitely a year of hard work, having to really kind of find time outside of my schedule to put the hours in to become the best coach possible and complete the diploma. But I did it. So yeah, it's been a wild journey, but it's just amazing. And when you can see yourself actually getting better through tangible results, people getting their dream job or people becoming more confident in dating, it was just kind of it was kind of magical, and it just kind of makes you kind of get a bit more of a thirst for it. You just want more and more and more, to serve more people and help them kind of accomplish their goals and move in the right direction. So
yeah. And one thing I'll say about that is, for a lot of people, let's be real, on the outside, when we look at services that you provide for men, you know, helping them to achieve their greatness, essentially, a lot of people can think and see, even if they do see the success stories, they might think, yeah, well, that's for them. Do you know what I mean? That's not for me. That's not tangible for me. That's what I'm hearing from you, but can it actually happen for me? What would you say to those young men, older men that are watching this, that are saying, I want to essentially change my life, you know, change the outcome that I'm going through right now, but I don't believe it? What would you say to them?
I'd say, well, first of all, I'd say book in a free call. There's no time limit, and let's talk. But I'd say for them to just be honest with themselves and really reflect on their life so far and see what kind of direction that they're going in. If they're, you know, if they've got all the things that they want to write down on a bit of paper, and if they're not making any, I guess, genuine steps to get to where they want to be, probably means that you need some support. You need someone to hold you accountable. You need someone to really start putting into actions the things that you're currently not doing. So I'd say, honestly, reach out to people for help, but like reach out to the right person. Just don't reach out to any other person that says they can help people, but make sure it's actually, you know, their interests align with yours, their results align with yours. I'm not really big on like looking at people's testimonials, because that's real life examples of the results that they can get people. And then from there, go and get that support, because it is quite hard. I always say as well, like a lot of people really struggle to open up to the people closest to them. So just open up to your partner, your friend, your family member might not exactly help you get to where they want to be, because they're not skilled in that area.
Yeah, I agree. And you mentioned the steps that you must take to sort of get there. And the services that you provide, the general scope of it is called Step Up Coaching, I believe. So tell me, and tell those who are watching, the brief steps that you do cover for them to sort of step up and to get there. Yeah,
definitely. So I think, especially with a lot of men, it's really important just to kind of like let them speak and really help them find what their purpose is in life. So once they've kind of got themselves a sense of purpose, it's about, I guess, gaining a sense of control over their lives and being really honest about, you know, what's happening in their life so far, what's stopping them from get to where they want to be, what they've done in the past that might be a similar success story. Obviously, a lot of people struggle with stuff like imposter syndrome. So they don't actually realize the things in their lives that they've done that has been successful. They might put it down to something else, but it is actually just genuinely them, and helping them get those eureka moments to think, okay, this actually is something that's pushing me in the right direction. And then it's just, I guess, a sense of starting to put action planning into effect. So they've got their goal, they've got their action plan, and then week by week by week, making sure they're, you know, achieving those small sets that they set themselves.
Keeping them accountable,
100%.
Yeah.
And then it's just a case of doing it and doing it and doing it. And then you kind of just get this sense of, I guess, you get used to succeeding. So you're, without even realizing, you're developing a winning mindset, because you're doing things to keep winning and winning and winning. And then you just basically go from there.
Now let's dive into mindset, because I think that is, if not it's not just essential, it's like the be all and end all, let's be honest, because if your mind isn't right, your body's not going to follow suit. So tell me the importance of mindset to you, and has mindset helped you throughout? Because obviously I believe that in order to be fit to do what you do, surely you have to have results, and you have had results for yourself. So how has mindset played a part in you reaching your goals and getting results?
Yeah, I think it's a real case of just being honest with yourself. Like, so many people always say, you know, I'd love to do that. I think what you're doing is great, but I just don't have the time. I don't have the time to commit the hours to it. I don't have the time to commit the hours to the process. And it's like, is that true? Could you not get up slightly earlier? Could you not go to bed slightly earlier to make sure you're still sleeping them out, but you've got more to do with your day? Yes, just because you are working a full-time job doesn't mean that you can't, you know, do something else on the side. Like, you have to really be prepared to create the time. And that's what I'd say, really opening up your mindset to stop creating excuses and be upfront and honest with yourself. As long as it's to do something that you want to do, that's what I'd say.
Yeah, definitely.
Pushing yourself and stretching yourself outside your comfort zone and being honest with it.
Definitely. And I think that you being here and you being a result of everything that you're speaking about, it shows that it is possible.
Definitely.
Do you know what I mean? It is possible for a young man or of a man of any age to sort of transform their lives and, you know, to become essentially what they've always wanted to become. What was I going to say? So you obviously study psychology, but I remember you telling me a story when you were at school and you sort of did really badly in your GCSEs, and when you thought, you know, oh, let me study psychology at university after A levels, a lot of your friends sort of looked down upon that, but you still went forward with it. What sparked that interest in psychology and human behavior in the first place?
Yeah, I just always thought it was just so interesting. You know, for me, there's just nothing more interesting than figuring out why we do things. And I think it just spread into so many of my other interests. Like I loved history, how psychology like, applies itself to history, sports and whatnot. It just seemed to suit all of my interests. And despite, you know, some of my boys having their opinions, you just got to follow what you want in life. Like they're not exactly going to be there like supporting you if you've gone in the wrong direction in life. To say, oh yeah, like I know that I did say that wasn't the best thing to do, but oh well. You got to figure out what you want and try and be the best at it.
And you were quite young, and yet you had that sort of mindset that said, you know, I'm going to go for it regardless of what people around me say. Because a lot of people do fall into peer pressure, you know, and they do, you know, fall into that mindset of, you know, let me follow what my friends are doing because it's cool. So what would you say to young boys, especially that are watching, that are in that predicament where it's like there's a lot of peer pressure, they're in a really negative, spiraling out of control environment, but they really they've got this hint in them that tells them that they want to change their lives and they want to do better. How do they even navigate that? How do they come out the other side?
You got to figure out what you want, and you got to kind of have the right role models in life, the people that you're watching. If they're doing the same thing, then I think subconsciously you kind of develop that winning mindset as well. Like, sorry, not winning mindset. You've developed that mindset to do what you set out to do. Like, it doesn't really matter what other people think. Like, my mum and dad are extremely headstrong. Like, the people that I kind of was looking up to at the time are extremely headstrong. So that helped me become headstrong. Don't watch people that are just doing just stupidness online, because that's not going to help you. But yeah, just I know it sounds a lot easier saying it than doing it,
but it's possible.
It's possible, and I just say to watch the right people.
Watch the right people. I believe that as well, because I feel like whatever you ingest is what you become, essentially. So the music that you're listening to, or the teachers that you're listening to, or the people that you're surrounding yourself and associating yourself with, and there's kind of like, even though it's really hard hitting for me to say this, but there's no excuses in life. I believe that if you really, really wanted something, you will make it happen for yourself.
100%.
Do you agree with that?
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
I couldn't agree more. And I always say, you know, even as a black person, right? As a black person, or if you're a woman, stuff like that, like in this century today, in the 21st century, living in England, anyone can do better for themselves.
Oh, 100%.
I know that some people have had really tough upbringings and it is more difficult for people, but don't let, you know, being a woman or being black or whatever it may be, or being gay, don't develop a victim mindset. Don't let it stop you from doing what you want to do. Like, anyone can be a lot more successful than they are. You just have to stop making excuses, apply the time outside of your job, and get to work, really. Definitely.
And you said that to do with psychology, actually, it made you, because obviously you grew up quite religious, right? Am I right to say that? It is.
Kind of, yeah. Sunday school, maybe, a little church here and there. But
you know, that's what I kind of meant. But obviously psychology sort of, it made you less religious as you delved into that subject in particular. What was it that, like, what's the differentiation that you found but between religion and psychology, and why did you become a bit more less religious?
For me, it's about the control factor. I feel like, you know, even as a young lad, for example, walking in town, I'd speak to because I'm not a rude person, some kind of Jehovah's Witnesses would come and like surround me and try to tell me that if I don't believe in what they're doing, that I go to hell. And for the wrong person, again, it goes back to being headstrong. They could believe that and feel really, really bad and be easily pressured into becoming a Jehovah's Witness. It's also the same just in terms of wars, how many wars religion has sparked. Like the Puritan days, and even you can see it in Africa and some parts of India, like the way that, you know, people are stoned if people believe they're a witch, or something like that. Although there's no evidence for it a lot of the time. It's just control. And even I'm watching something on Netflix at the moment. It's a Korean program. And it just shows how, these crazy people have used religion to control people to do sexual acts and whatnot that just were completely wrong. And I just thought, is that actually any real tangible evidence for me at the time for believing in religion? And there really wasn't. Like, I liked the idea of it, but there just wasn't enough there for me to really believe in it.
Yeah, I agree with that. And you're really brave to say that. And I can actually follow suit and say I definitely agree, in a sense where, for me, there's a big difference between religion and faith. I feel like religion is full of obviously doctrine and do this or else and things like that. But I feel like faith is like a personal relationship with God. And I feel like that relationship can be found in different ways. Like, it could even be found in, like, I don't know if you believe in metaphysics and the power of energy. Like, that's you and God, in a sense, because that's the power of God within you. And like whatever you call God to be for you, that's your relationship with the higher power. So I think that's really interesting. Very, very interesting. Yeah, definitely. Tell me about this now. Obviously there is a difference between, in the one podcast that you were on prior to this, that you said that they asked you what's the difference between, I believe, coaching and what you do, or would you say you're a coach? Yeah, so I think it was something else. Oh, I forgot.
Coaching and mentoring.
Yeah, I think so. I don't know. I can't remember. But is there a difference between the two?
Yes, a huge difference. And people always get. So I always get people. Sometimes get people come up to me. Oh yeah, I could. I'm good at talking to people, so I could do what you do. And I just think that's absolute BS. You couldn't do it without learning how to do it. Again, because it goes back to a lot of people don't really listen. They listen to respond with what they've done good in their life or how they can relate. They're not actually listening to ask you more questions to help you. So what I guess mentoring is when, you might apply some of the same coaching skills, but you're having a conversation with someone and they're basically helping you through their own experiences in life. So a lot of entrepreneurs will go to someone that's already been there, done it and said it, and they might be getting asked questions, but it will be based off their own experiences. And it's kind of like looking up to somebody, whereas coaching is really all about not offering any of your own opinion at all, no leading questions. It's all open questions and effective questions at the right time to help someone get from where they are now to where they want to be. So it's, although there's similarities, it's kind of like a completely different school of thought. And I think coaching's a lot more effective because you're getting results from what you've done and what you thought of and your own ideas. It's not based on what somebody else has done.
Definitely, because you said at one point, coaching is so powerful because it's about your own ownership. Can you, obviously you sort of touch base on it just a bit, but can you elaborate on that? Because for me, your own ownership is like you said, asking open-ended questions for me to figure out and discern for myself, okay, what is right for me, due to that question that you asked me. And then, like you said, it is more effective because then you're like, you sort of realize it within yourself, and there's nothing more powerful than that. So can you elaborate on what you mean by coaching is so powerful because it's about your own ownership? Yeah,
for example, like I always give this example when I help someone achieve their dream job, and all I did was kind of ask them questions, and you're just waiting for those kind of penny drop moments. But the reason why she achieved her dream job at the time, and this was last year, was because she was putting in the work outside of work hours. Despite the fact that she was juggling all these different jobs, she found time. She was able to, have the ability to say no to things which she may have not done before. She was putting a CV together. She realized that what she was doing at this moment in time wasn't helping her get to where she needed to be. She had a good job that at the time she was working for a small radio station, and she really wanted to work for like a big commercial radio station. And the people were lovely. It was great. She was getting experience. She'd been there for years and nothing more was really happening. So she realized that she had to put herself in the right network, the right space to get that commercial radio job, which she did. And again, all I did was ask her the questions, but it was her that took herself the time to apply herself to get the results that she wanted. That would have been completely different if I was a mentor.
Do you think it wouldn't have been sustained? Is that it? Like, would it have been like maybe she got the job, but then she failed to keep it if you were a mentor to her?
Yeah, there's a lot more of a reliance There's a lot more of reliance. It's kind of like you need to keep that mentor in your life because you're looking up to what they've done. Oh, what happens if my mentor is not in my life? Then, oh gosh, like, whereas exactly as you said, you're going, that action, I guess, that you're going to take is going to be a lot more maintainable when you come up with yourself.
Yeah, that's really interesting. And you also mentioned her saying no to stuff. Now, let's talk about that because there is power in saying no. Let's be real. Like, I feel like when you, like for me anyway, because I'm a Christian, I sort of ask God, source within me for discernment. And sometimes it's like, quit your job. It's like, it can get that deep. And it's like, okay, cool. Like, I'm throwing away that, I don't know, certificate that I got from work, and it's all done now. I'm calling in to say that I'm no longer going to work. So sometimes it's that, but for me, I'll just say this really briefly, but when I did quit my job, my full-time job working at school, I found that 2 weeks later, I got a call from the BBC saying, we want to interview you for your podcast. I got a major following on social media regarding a major podcaster. What else did I get? I got speaking gigs. I got my podcast just went up and up and up in terms of the guests that come on, and so many good things happen, but it's only because I took that quantum leap. So talk to me about what you think about the power of saying no, and that sort of thing.
Yeah, it's really important, right? Because I wrote a blog on this. You can end up kind of like going into a spiral of living a life of quiet desperation. And what that is you stay within your comfort zone, you're doing the same thing, and you're kind of just living a boring existence because nothing else is happening for you because you're not pushing yourself. Sometimes you do have to take those risks in life. Like if you want to be great or you want to be successful, you're going to have to take a risk. You're going to have to say no to certain things, and you're going to have to put yourself in position to get to where you want to be. And that's what you did. That's a big thing. That would have been, salary as well.
Let's not get into it.
But
there's a lot
that voice in your head, I always say it's a negative mind chat in your head. That would have been screaming probably like it never has done before. But again, it's about looking at where you want to be, and sometimes there's difficult decisions that you've got to make. Like for some people, it might be sometimes saying, I know I love a night out, but sometimes you have to say no to a night out and use the weekend to get planning to where you want to be. It can't just, you're going to have to say no to certain things you said, but
yeah. Definitely.
It's a big leap.
It is a big leap. It is. Thank you so much. And talk about this, like you mentioned, like, your minds in a sense. There's obviously a difference between the subconscious and the conscious mind. And a lot of people may not know, but just briefly stating, the conscious mind is a part of your mind where it's your consciousness, right? Your awareness, your five senses, how you navigate the world. And your subconscious mind is the part where it's like whatever you feed it, it just accepts. It can't reject anything. It can only accept, whereas the conscious mind can reject or accept what it sees or the circumstances around it. But the subconscious mind is a pattern of habits that are ingrained in us that dictate our behaviors. From very early. So do you know much about that? And do you, or?
Yeah, it's kind of like, so I guess I looked into quite a lot of the subconscious when I studied through coaching values and beliefs. And a lot of your value system is made up from childhood. And a lot of the beliefs that you form about yourselves are always also from childhood. And the reason why things like negative mind chatter even exists is because when you're a kid, for example, in terms of beliefs, you take on, I think it is, I don't want to botch this up, that you take on basically 4 negative beliefs for every 1 positive belief. So that's where that kind of thing can kind of come into play. But yeah, in terms of the subconscious, a lot of the times it is going to be a lot more negative. That's why it's really important to figure out what you want. Because you don't want to be doing something that's not going to benefit you in the future. But
because it's easy to say figure out what you want.
Yes.
But a lot of people are in a state of mind where I don't know what I want. What are my skills? What are my strengths? What are my weaknesses? I don't even know. So how do they go about finding out what it is that they want, what it is that they truly, truly want?
That's a really good question.
Yeah.
Because I would say, don't get me wrong, I would say that's where a coach comes in handy, because that's what we're good at. It's clearing like all of like the negative mind chatter. It's kind of unclogging your brain and laying everything out there for you, because as you said, it's not easy to do that yourself. But I said on a podcast actually a couple of months ago that let's say you don't want to go into coaching, let's say you might be even struggling with money and you just want to try and figure this out yourself. There's so many resources and whatnot online that I'm sure you could get. But it is about getting a piece of paper out, put in actually what you may think that you want, or at least putting your interests, let's say. Looking at your strengths. I won't even say look at your weaknesses. You want to keep it positive. Looking at the skills and kind of looking at maybe what jobs relate to what you want. Having a little look online, and that will be part of figuring out what you want. Because
okay.
I mean, I think you should be able to understand what you're good at in life, and what you're interested in. You should at least know that it's just a bit of a base, but then go out to a professional that can help you to go that step further.
Perfect. Thank you for that insight. All right, so let's move on. We've got the special question segment. I've got a jar of questions here. Now, these questions are made by the audience to ask the guest a question. Now, these questions are quite hard-hitting, quite ruthless, quite personal. So, yeah, if you want to answer it, great. So you read it and answer it. Or if not, then you just say pass, because obviously we normally have alcohol, but this studio is quite strict. So, yeah, pick out one question and, read it and answer it. Quite a long one.
Yeah, wow. If you were to coach yourself, what's the one question you would ask yourself to stimulate an emotional and true response
about yourself?
Yeah, this is a good one. Okay. So, what would you do in life if you weren't to follow the action plan you've created yourself?
If you wanted to.
If you weren't. Sorry, let me rephrase that.
Yeah.
What are you going to do if this doesn't happen? So what are you going to do if kind of all the things that you're saying that you want isn't going to happen in the next 5 years, 10 years?
That one hits home.
That one
hits home.
I know sometimes coaches lay off that because they think it's negative and everything has to be positive. But that's not true at all. I think being a coach and the way I coach is all about being realistic as to helping you really figure out that what you're doing at this moment in time isn't helping you, and you need to do something else to get to where you want to be. So that one is that's a bit of a a soul crunching one.
100%. It's a wake up call, because we tend to think, and the way that it's advertised to us, goals and goal setting, it's going to happen. You just have to put a time limit on it, or you just have to work towards it. But it's true. What if it doesn't happen? Like, what will you do? Would you continue doing what you want to do because you love it? Or if your love for it dies, what are you going to do? Do you know what I mean? So yeah, that's really interesting. Really interesting. Let's move on to this, right? So, sorry, can I grab that?
Of course.
Thank you. All right. So let's move on to this. So, a few statistics regarding mental health and around men's mental health in particular. Can you state one or two statistics that you know?
Yeah. So men are 3 times more likely than women to become alcoholics, homeless, and suicidal. Yet only 34% of men actually go to therapy when they think they've got a problem. Suicide is the biggest killer of men under 45, and the main reasons for it, I always used to think it must have been, at first you think, it must be childhood trauma or something like that. But realistically, it is societal pressure and lack of communication. So, I mean, for me, it just shows that at this moment in time, men are struggling a lot more, but doing a lot less about it. And the main things that they're struggling with is things that I think are kind of inbuilt from us from a young age. Like, not, be tough at all times. For a girl, kind of mollycoddled in a way. When they cry as a boy, get up. What we watch in movies, what we see on TV, the prehistoric ages.
Why do you think this is? Why do you think society has carved this connotation that a man or a young boy should just be tough and just get on with it and not show or express emotion or communicate? It's a hard question, isn't it? I don't know, because I'm just wondering, because it's like, why is it like that? I'm just thinking, like, I don't know, like, it's true, it's a really hard question. It's like, I don't think anyone knows the answer to that. But one thing I can say is, like, why don't you think men open up? Why don't you think they talk about their feelings? Obviously it's because of society, but, or maybe should I phrase the question differently? What can help them to open up and to start talking?
What can help them is having a friend that truly listens to them. And I know I've touched on this before, earlier, but like really just whether it's kind of understanding what they need at the time. So whether that's just time to vent and literally just to listen, not to say a word, just let them keep talking, not to butt in with your own experiences, not to butt in with how you can relate, not to critique them, not to judge them, and to listen to them and ask them things that relate to what they're saying. That's what I think the most important thing is. But that is very hard to come by.
That's what I was going to say.
Although it shouldn't be, it is extremely hard.
Especially for men. Like if your guy friend is to come and like pour his heart out, you'll probably be thinking like, what you doing? Whereas it shouldn't be like that.
Yeah.
That's really interesting. So in terms of like mental health, I'm just trying to think, because like I remember when I obviously men go through it, you know, women go through it too, in terms of like not being able to communicate or people to brush it off. Because I remember when I was going through a depressive stage of bipolar disorder, because I was diagnosed with bipolar disorder in 2016, and thank God I'm good now. But I was told by someone close to me to just snap out of it, and I think that's a phrase that goes on a lot in mental health and when people have mental health issues. And also I saw on Instagram an image of someone in a hospital bed with a broken leg, and there was flowers around them and there were people around them coming to cater to them. But then when it was the reverse and it was like a mental hospital and someone laying in bed really, you know, disheveled, there was no one there. And personally, I've been in and out of hospital in the past with mental health issues, and yes, my family did come and visit me, but there was a lot of times where I was just secluded and alone. So it's like, it's just weird how people don't tend to, because it's invisible.
That's it.
Do you know what I mean? Is that what you're going to say? Why do you think that is? Why is it such a contrast between like physical illnesses and mental illnesses and how people react to it?
Unfortunately, it's because of what we can see. We can see in front of you. When you see a broken leg, it looks unbearable pain. You can see somebody's really, really struggling. A lot of people just don't understand it. So you know how like a lot of people, for example, don't believe in depression because they can't see it. They think it's just simply being sad and something you can snap out of. And I think it's just really important to understand, like they just need to do their own research and they'll figure out the effects that it has on the brain, anxiety and whatnot. But yeah, as you said, it's mainly just because it's something that you can't see, so it doesn't seem tangible to them. Yeah.
Can we get out of it? Because I could say we can, because I have. But can we get out of it? Maybe the atomic habits, the small micro habits that we do every day, can it help get men, women out of the phase of depression? Do you think so? Or do we have to like leave it to like just time? What do you think?
I think that so it sounds really simple, but I know it's not. I think the way to try and not be depressed or not be anxious is, if you read that book, like learn not to basically give a
I
can swear.
Yeah, and I prefer not to. What is it? How not to give a
how not to give an F, basically.
How not to give an F, yeah.
And that's realistically kind of what you need to do in life a lot of the time. Like, when I guess it's kind of is a bit more for anxiety than depression, but you've got to think like, what is the worst that can happen if this seminar doesn't go as I wanted it to go, this talk doesn't go as I wanted it to go, and moving from there, as you said as well, the kind of the steps in life, that's something that will help a lot of people. Being disciplined, sticking to, you know, just even promises that you tell yourselves. Being able to, you should start off with something that's extremely small. So for a lot of people, it might be making the bed. And that might sound really, really basic. But when you do something as simple as making a bed, a lot of people just leave it. But then when you do that day by day by day, you're starting to win at something. Then it might be on to the next thing. So, yeah, I think it's definitely possible. Yeah. But just try not care as much of what everybody thinks. Yeah. And if things go wrong, and try working on those small steps. Yeah. Try working on those small wins, because that will lead to a winning mindset and I guess bigger mountains to climb.
100%, and it can essentially transform your whole life, because I'm saying this as a person who's actually been through it, but I'm sure you got that quote from Jordan Peterson who says, you know, tidy your bed or clean your room and change your life or something like that. But it really helps and works, because once you shift that mindset, you start to attract more positive thoughts and more positive circumstances, and it just becomes a positive spiral, and then you'll see that eventually your life has actually changed from depression to like a bit more of a better state.
100%.
So yeah, that's really interesting. We're gonna wrap it up now.
Cool.
I've got one last question to ask you. Where do you see step up coaching and even yourself when, let's see, this time next year?
This time next year, I see step up coaching. Hopefully having a much bigger following on Instagram and my social media. But you know what it is? The main thing for me is I just want to be part of the movement that encourages men to talk more. That's what I am passionate about, because, you know, as you said and I've said, and the stats show, there's a huge problem with that at the moment. So if I can be kind of like one of the main, I guess, spearheads for that type of movement, that's what I want to do, because there's a lots of, like, you know, great YouTube videos around. You see people like Tyson Fury talking about mental health, and that kind of stuff is quite, you know, motivational. But I think what's inspirational is when you can see yourself applying the things to kind of come out of that depressive state, and start, you know, getting on and doing stuff yourself as opposed to just watching it. So
taking action, even small action steps.
Yeah. So I just really want to kind of put, at least as well, put coaching in, you know, I guess make coaching become a real intervention to get men talking more.
I like that word, intervention. That's powerful. That's really powerful. Nathan, thank you. I just want to say, I think what you do is phenomenal. I'm not going to lie, at first when you messaged me on Instagram to be on the show, I was like, is this person even real? Is this profile real? I had to have you send me a voice note to make sure you're real. I don't know why. I just thought, and then I looked into what you do, and I was just like, this is amazing. Like, we need more people like you. We need more movements like this. We need more men talking about their mental health, their overall well-being, you know, obviously women too, but in this instance, we're talking about men. But I think it's just amazing what you do, and I really hope for the best for it. And yeah, just keep going. That's genuinely speaking.
Oh, thank you, and yeah, congrats to everything on the show as well.
Thank you.
The guests that you're getting on, definitely getting bigger. So
I know.
No,
so excited.
Especially, and thank you for letting me on the show. It's been a really good experience.
Oh, that's completely fine. Can you look at this white iPhone and tell people where they can find you, if you've got a website, your social media handles, and everything that's happening soon?
Yep, cool. So www.stepup-coaching.co.uk is my website, and social media handles is Instagram step.up.coaching. That's also TikTok as well, and then just Step Up Coaching on Facebook and LinkedIn. Full name is Nathan Essen, and what I've got going on at the moment, which has been really, really cool. So I just started the Step Up Challenge. Again, really want to show how coaching's, you know, can be transformative even in the fitness industry, which is one of my big loves, being a developmental coach, but for people's fitness goals. So that's going. I've got a group of people on that have been amazing. You know, they've just created their own diet plans and training programs, and now we're really applying that. So that's what I'm doing for the next 4 weeks. But apart from that, I'm still taking on one-to-one clients. And yeah, honestly, if you've got, you know, just stuff on your mind and you need to declutter, you're not where you want to be in life, you've got any goals, just book in a free call. There's no time limit at all, and let's have a chat. And, you know, I'll be very transparent and honest with you if I feel like I'm the right person that can help you move forward, and we'll go from there. But don't hold things in. Talk to the people that you trust around you, and let's start, you know, bringing down that suicide number. Let's start reduce the amount of self-sabotage behaviors that we get all entangled up into, and let's get talking.
Definitely. That's amazing. Thank you so much. I'm going to say my last 2 pence to the audience. Thank you so much for watching another episode of the Aridja Kals Show, where we speak to ordinary people with extraordinary lives and emerging creatives and entrepreneurs. And yeah, I just want to say, pick up that pen, pick up that mic, pick up that camera, whatever it is in your creative and entrepreneurial journey, and just go for it. Please just go for it, because life is too short not to chase your dreams. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Make sure you subscribe, like, comment, follow on Spotify, Spotify as well, where you can find this episode and all my previous episodes. And yeah, once again, thank you, and we'll see you again next week. All right, guys, see you. All right, cool. Yeah, you can take that one off, but we'll leave this one on just for BTS.